Welcome back to Careful Boys, where we are very careful boys.
Very careful.
Today we're going to talk about what's your worst argument you have with your folks?
Worst argument I ever had with my parents was with me and my mom. Actually, it was with both of them. And man, I hardly remember what we were even fighting about, but I think it had something to do with, I had like a friend who like overstayed his welcome. Like he just kept hanging out way too long, and then my dad was like upset about it.
Like he kept sleeping over?
Yeah, was he sleeping over?
This was back when we were like 16, and yeah, some dude who was like, he's one of those like pathological liar guys that just like, he was like the boyfriend of a friend of mine, so he just kept hanging out, but I think he really ran away from home. So he was just hanging out all the fucking time, and my dad was like, dude, tell this guy to go home. And then he was so cool that I couldn't. I'm like, dude, this guy's so fucking cool. And then my dad was so pissed that he was like, I'm gonna take him home myself. So my dad like told him to like get in the car. My dad drove him home, and it turned out he lived in like fucking San Diego or some shit. So my dad drove him to San Diego.
Oh my god.
I remember my mom being really pissed about it because like at the time I was still a little shit and I was really combative, and then my mom started like yelling at me about like how irresponsible it is. You don't even know him, you're letting him in the house, you're letting him do all this shit. And I got so pissed at her, like I had like a fucking teen anger problem or some shit. So we start arguing like full blast. I start yelling at her, and I don't really yell at her a lot. I would kind of walk away from bad fights at that age and just not come back for a while. But this night I was super shouting at her, and then she, in the middle of our fight, literally had a heart attack.
Oh my god.
Oh my fucking god.
That's just the luck of having an argument with you, I guess.
A heart attack?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
What did that look like?
It just collapsed, and then
So she was like, nah, like in the movies, you know how they do that?
Exactly what you think it.
Is it really? It's like that overly dramatic, like.
It was like
My left arm.
There's different like, grades of heart attack, right? There's some that you're just fucking done, you're gone, and then like as you go down, like some of them are, it's like discomfort, and then you can't move. Hers was a lower grade, thank God. But yeah, she collapsed, and I was just like holding her, and then.
How did you process it? Was at first like, what the fuck are you doing? And then like, oh fuck.
Were you like, I hope you don't think that you won the argument because of this shit?
No, dude, it's like, I think like, it's one of those things where you just immediately, like, if it's your own mom, like, you just immediately forget about. That's why it's hard for me to remember what we were fighting about, because like, that takes precedence in my mind about that night. And I called the 911, and I'm just holding her, and I'm like, fuck, I hope they get here in time. And she can't really speak. She's like, oh, it's just like hurts. And then from then on, like, I mean, the fire department, they sent the fire truck, of course, and the ambulance, and then they took her, and then she went to the hospital, and then my dad came home.
Oh.
And then
Did he blame you for it?
Oh, 100%.
Did he even know? Or did you tell him like we were fighting and then she got a heart attack?
It's so mature of him, by the way.
He knew everything because like, I don't know, I don't remember exactly like if I told him or if the hospital like called him or something. But then he just fucking knew everything, and he came home, and that's like I think one of 2 times I've seen my dad cry. It was like at a funeral of my cousin, and then this time he was crying in front of me, and I remember him like, he was like, had like a murderous rage, and he was like, if anything happens to her, I swear to God, and he was like gonna kill me, like literally.
Holy
He was that like pissed.
Oh my god.
And then my mom made a full recovery. I think it was fine. Since then, I've never fought with them again. Like that was like 16.
Did that actually help your guys' relationship?
It did, because I think it improved my own fucking shittiness. Like I just like was like, no, what argument's worth that? What argument is worth like seeing that happen?
Like why do things have to even get that heated?
It doesn't. And like when you really look at a lot of problems, at least for me at the time, the root of it really was my dumbass. Like that was my fault. I let this fucking guy I don't even know hang out with us so much and sleep over, and like, you know, this kid was like a fucking runaway. Like, what am I thinking, you know? But you don't see any of that because when you're that age, you're just focused on being the coolest fucking guy possible.
Coolest dude, sickest dude ever. I'm not focused on that now, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't even think about that.
It would hurt your like coolness to tell a guy who you think is cooler than you that he can't come over anymore. It's like, oh fuck.
I know, and it's almost like they took away your like best toy.
Yeah.
He was like your play, like your fun time. And
It's
you're
such a
just
stupid thing.
You tell me Zach Morris can't come over anymore?
Yes.
I wish he was that cool.
I told I found out through the grapevine of my uncle that my aunt had been talking shit on my parents, and my parents have done some amazing shit. Like, my parents take care of my grandmother. My grandma's 90 fucking 2 years old. My mom helps my grandma go to the bathroom every fucking day. My mom helps my grandma do everything. Every fucking day. But nobody knows that because my mom doesn't fucking tell anybody, doesn't bitch to them, doesn't go telling them all the shit she's going through, all the stuff that she's dealing with. By the way, she's doing this shit and my mom had cancer doing this shit.
Fuck.
She's in remission now, thank God. Thank you, seriously. But like, it's like she was going through all this shit, right? And this is pre-cancerous stuff, but this is like a couple years ago. But still, my mom is a saint, right? And so hearing that my aunt was saying some shit about my folks, like, I went nuts, right? I went absolutely nuts.
So you fought with your aunt.
Oh yeah. I lit her the fuck up. I lit her like a fucking Christmas tree in the middle of July.
Was it on the phone or was it in the face? Or...
No, I texted her because I only had her number on the text.
Was there a lot of fucks in there?
There's a lot of like accusations. I basically just said, hey, I heard you talking shit on my folks. You don't even deserve to fucking say their name, you know. And I just let her the fuck have it. And my father was mad at me about it because he felt like I got in the middle of his my mom's relationship with her sister. But I was like, you know what? If her sister's a piece of shit, who cares? But like, you know, I get it. So my dad was mad about that. But I'm like, you know what? Like, to me, old man, you were supposed to do this, not me.
Because that's his job.
That's your job.
To protect his wife.
You're supposed to do that. But I did it instead. So whatever. And, you know, so it was one of those things where I don't have any regrets about it. I'm glad I did it. An unfortunate reality of that is that anytime some drama goes down in my family now, they try to keep it from me because they're afraid I'll fucking blow this.
The equalizer.
But dude, it's just, you know what? Like, my family's full of introverts. I'm the only extroverted person in my whole.
So they all keep it to themselves.
All keep it to themselves. They let it build like a fucking huge mountain.
Nice.
And I just don't know how to deal with that. I don't know how to not say what I think. And so I just that's my shit, right? And I'm not sitting here saying, oh yeah, what a badass I am. I'm just saying, like, that's just how I deal with shit. I have to release the valve, or I just think about it. I can't even go to sleep.
So you fought with your dad because of that?
My dad because of it.
And that was a pretty big fight.
Yeah, that was the biggest one we've had.
I wish I had a dad to fight with.
I know, but you don't even have one.
I guess that was the last thing I did. I told the story here is I yelled at him, and it was very good.
Yeah,
I wish he was around that I can consistently yell at him every day.
Me too, so we can mine content from him.
How's your relationship with your aunt now?
I don't talk to her.
At all? You just cut.
She's honestly dead to me.
Wow.
Very few people are dead to me in my life.
What would it take? Would it take her like apologizing for you?
Yeah, but she wouldn't own any of it. She actually just completely said that none of that happened. It's all bullshit.
Oh, she's just denied.
Is she a narcissist who thinks that it's never her fault?
Thinks that everything that she involves herself with is for the betterment or whatever.
Is she subscribed?
I hope so.
She should.
She should also check out the Patreon. But it was, yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, dude, you're just dead to me. I don't care. There was enough going on. Like, when I was growing up with her, there's my uncle Bob, who died of AIDS, and he was gay. So if you guys want to do any AIDS jokes, you go ahead and get them out of your system.
Maybe in a minute. Okay.
Mine's more of a knock-knock than an AIDS joke.
Okay, cool. And if you guys have any monkeypox jokes, you guys hit me with that while I'm down.
While you're down.
But no, he was an avid comic book collector, like avid, right? Like, he had like every fucking comic book. He had like Superboy #1 and shit. And like Superman #1 would have been tight, but Superboy #1, that's worth thousands, right?
It ain't Action Comics.
Yeah.
It's like a limited edition Corolla or something.
Unfortunately, he mostly focused on weird sci-fi shit. So it's like, you know, we have like It Came from Outer Space, like #1.
Oh yeah.
Like yeah.
George McFly shit.
Yeah, George McFly shit. So it's like, great, nobody collected this shit. So all the people who would have collected this shit are dead. So thanks for doing that.
Best buyers don't exist anymore.
Yeah, dude, it's over. So when he died, there was this huge dust up in my family of like who gets what. And like my folks were like, who gives a shit? Like my dad actually went to you know, his house after because they lived in Pennsylvania, or he lived in Pennsylvania and we lived in Virginia, so like it was a short drive for us compared to the family. So by the time my folks got there, all my relatives were there just raiding the house, getting his coins and all his old fucking shit. Bunch of fucking assholes, right? So my folks are just like, my dad was just sitting there like just remembering my great uncle. And
That's his brother?
no, so that was my grandfather's brotder.
Oh, great uncle.
Yeah, my great uncle, right? So then, so then by the end of it, like we got like, I don't know, a carpet steamer out of it. Like we didn't, it wasn't about,
Came up?
It wasn't about what you get. But then the idea was that we would just split up the comic book collection because who gives a fuck? But then, you know, my aunt cleaned out his bank accounts and like, so she took like a fuck ton, like all of his money and she was supposed to be, because she's like a super smarty teacher, she was supposed to be distributing all this stuff like to the family, but she took it all instead. And just said like,
What a mess.
oh no, he left it all, like no, this is what he wanted and all this shit, but that's not what he wanted.
For her only?
For her only. And so it was just like this bullshit thing that like money matters more than family, all this stuff.
Fuck.
So by the time that we get to this part of like hearing that my aunt talk shit on my folks, I'm like, you're done, bitch.
Yeah.
For you, it was already the
Yeah.
breaking point.
But then
That
to my
keg's
dad, he's
already
like,
lit.
That's strike fucking 4. He's like, I better, if she does it again, you know, it's like,
Maybe he's so used to her shit that at this point it's just a cycle.
but to me, I'm like, this should have been you should have done this.
Yeah.
I'm not emasculating him. We're just different people.
What was your dad saying back at you when you were telling him you should
I
have?
got between my mom and her sister. I shouldn't have done that. I fucked things up for them. But now my mom is like, yo, my sister's a piece of shit because she's done a bunch of stuff since then to prove it even more.
Right.
Than like 6 years ago.
Does your dad agree that it was his job to do that before you fucking stopped?
I won't say that to him.
Oh, you didn't tell him that's your job?
I don't want to destroy his soul.
I thought you were petty.
I am petty, but not to my father. I love my father.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
you spared him that one.
I did.
That's good.
I think a little bit differently where I hold grudges with my family members and I make them pay. So like if
different
they've
a little
done
bit.
something, but I maybe, you know, it's not as severe as what your parents did or something like that. So maybe I like to see them suffer a little bit and then I can forgive them.
I get it.
Yeah. So like I remember like, you know, I didn't have the best relationship with my mom and all that stuff. And then it got to the point where she started to be more understanding of me as a human being. So like we fought all the time. And she was a great mom in the sense where like she did her best with the knowledge that she had. You know, like being in a conservative Christian household, you're stubborn. You don't think outside the box. You don't think of other ways to parent. You just kind of blame your kids, right? So then no matter what, there was never a discussion about anything. It was just you're wrong and you're possessed by the devil. And then and I think I was.
Super metal.
But then eventually like she got to the point where like after my dad left and all that stuff, like she had to look at herself and then, you know, there comes a time when it's like you can't just keep blaming people for why something's not the way you want it to be. Like she would blame my brother for influencing me. She would blame my dad. She would blame all these other things, right? But then she's like, I never thought that there would be a time where I would be alone with no husband and all this shit. And then now I'm like distancing myself from my son. So she had a huge like wake up call. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let you marinate in that for a second. Because some people would be like, no, you know what? That's okay. Like, no, you're a great mom. But for me, I was like, I'm gonna let you suffer for the next 5 years until I'm gonna give you any affection.
Yeah.
And then to me, that journey for her, she was like, you know, going through counseling, she was reading books, and then she would cry and call me up and be like, you know, I fucked up. And then like I heard the apologies and I'm like, that's good. I think I need a couple more years of this.
Holy shit.
Yeah, but then she wasn't the only one I did this to. My uncle beat the fuck out of me when I was a kid because he was embarrassed that I got lost in this church thing, right? And after that, I
Was everything clearly labeled?
There was no directions for anything.
No, I guess I was the campus cops found me. Oh, wow. And then I was just eating cake, hanging out, and I guess like we were making friends and shit, right? And then when my uncle came through, I didn't know he was embarrassed. He did the whole like laughing, and then by the time he took me to the tent, he beat the fuck out of me. So I was like, I was screaming up a storm.
Was he
like,
responsible for you at that time? Is that why he was embarrassed?
my parents weren't there.
Oh, so he was.
Yeah.
He was
I
embarrassed that he lost
went
track
to
of
the
you.
camp. You know those camp meetings?
Yeah, like
I went
at
with
Camp Cedar
them.
Falls?
Yeah. And then it was like that big one where all of the different groups come together.
Yeah.
And then so like I fucking yelled like crazy, right? And then like all the people were coming out, and then they're just like, "What's going on? Stop that shit!" And he got even more embarrassed, right?
Oh yeah, what the fuck? It's way worse.
Right. And I milked that shit. I was like, yeah, he was hitting me so much. He's gonna make this motherfucker go to jail. And then so like my parents begged me to fucking change the story. All this stuff. So I was like, all right.
shit.
And I was like, I can't wait to fucking spread this rumor at church. I'm gonna fuck this guy. And I was like, one day, I'm gonna get big. Like my body's gonna be big, and I'm gonna fuck this fucker up. And that's all I obsessed about.
God.
And then I was like, one day I'm gonna get bigger. And then couple months ago, he had a heart attack. And then I was just like thinking, hey dude, you shouldn't keep getting so angry all the time. And a piece of me was like saying like, fuck you, motherfucker. That's what happens when you have an anger problem. And I'm like, but the other piece of me is like, dude, I love this guy. He was a
Gangster,
great,
bro.
He was a great fucking uncle. There's a part of, like, not all abusers.
He never apologized for what happened.
Oh no, he's a narcissist. Like he never, dude. He's same thing like my dad.
He's your dad's brother?
Remember he
He's
did that.
married to my mom's sister.
Oh, okay.
So same thing like with my dad, right? Like he had an intervention with my cousins who are his kids, and they're like, you used to beat the fuck out of us. You threw me in a closet and didn't let me out for like 6 hours. Like you tortured us,
He's
right?
not even a blood uncle.
Yeah. So then they had this intervention, and he goes, I never hit you guys.
Oh my
Same fucking
God.
shit.
What
Repressed
the
his
fuck,
memory, all this
man?
stuff, right?
Oh.
So then they're like, unless you change, you can't see our kids. That's what they said to him. Yeah.
Holy shit.
And then so for me, like, completely changed. Like, he doesn't fuck with me anymore. Like, I love the dude. Like, we have conversations. But then I still enjoy mentally fucking with him sometimes and be like, remember when you fucked me up? Like, it was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then it's like, and I'm just like, dude, and we'll just be eating, and I'll be like, yeah, isn't it awesome that I pursued my dreams and didn't have to listen to your, like, kind of advice? Because if I chose what you wanted me to do, and you kept pressing me to not like pursue things, like I would have failed at life, right? Yeah. And then he would have been, and he was like, yeah, I realized that people should all pursue their dreams. And then all of his kids are like, that's what we've been fucking trying to tell you. And I just watch this and I'm like, that's right, bitch.
Yeah.
And you're like, JK will be dead within a year.
But like, I don't know, like that pettiness of me of just like, I want to torture this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I care about him. It's such a weird feeling.
It is
Yeah.
weird. It's a conflict. Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't fight with them. I love them. I know they changed, and I feel like people all have like these different kind of demons and weaknesses.
Well,
And I
Bart's
can't
dad
blame
pisses
them.
Bart off.
Yeah, I was just telling him like in between the break, I was like, damn, I'm like fighting with my dad like every day right now.
Currently
Right now. So I actually don't even know what the like message or lesson is because it's not it's all muddy. It's not I haven't articulated even a thought process yet, but it just feels really good to yell at him.
I know that feeling.
That was me a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so we just like literally every day.
How much are you hanging though?
Huh?
How much are you guys hanging?
What do you mean?
Like
How
he
much
lives
do
in
you
your
see
spot
him?
right now, right?
How much do you see him?
Well, he lives with us.
Yeah.
But like we
that's too
don't
much.
really like.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, we live. So I see him every day, and then every day he talks to me about the same shit, and then I give him answers to the same shit, and then he goes, "Oh, that's really good," and he goes back to his old thoughts. So I think that's the part that
It's like you're living with Joe.
maybe I don't know.
He's talking about scooters all the time, dude.
Yeah, he can't stop talking about scooters.
But yeah, but I think my dad's actually a narcissist. Like after talking to him now, I'm like, holy fuck. I'm like,
You're
this
not
guy,
listening to me.
This guy really can't. Because like everything that he talks about, like he'll do something, and he blames the other person for not taking it the way that he wanted it.
Oh.
Like he's like, I don't understand. Like everyone wants this. I'm like, no, not everyone wants.
Dude, he got fucking butthurt at me because he made me that red bean dessert and I didn't eat it every day.
Yeah, like the biggest thing.
A red bean dessert?
Should have ate it every day.
And I told him, oh, this is sick, right? And then after that, every fucking day, he had a big bowl of it in the fridge. And I was like, fuck, dude. After like 7 days of it,
Every day.
I can't eat it no more.
He can't. He hasn't pooped in a whole.
And then he said he got his feelings hurt because I lied to him that I didn't fucking like it, and I left it in the fridge. And I'm like,
Who makes a dessert with legumes?
it's fucking delicious.
It's pretty good.
But not every day, right?
Good
Not
the
that
first
much.
time,
Not
yeah.
a big bowl.
Yeah, right now the biggest thing is that we're dealing with is my dad had this crazy epiphany that he wants to get back with my mom. And,
Oh, that's a real thing.
and they got divorced when I was 6.
Yeah.
So my dad was like, hey, you know what? I've been thinking. And then he's like, I'm like 70 something. I'm probably gonna die on my own. Her mom is like 70 something. She's probably gonna die on her own. He goes like, why do we even need to do that? There's 2 people perfect in this world for each other. And he's like, you know what I see? I see like me, your mom, Gio, Taika, and you just sitting at the dinner table, and we're just having a nice family dinner. And I told my dad, I'm like, you know that vision that you have? I'm like, out of the 7 billion people in this world, I'm like, you know how many people have that fantasy? He goes, how many? I'm like, just you. He goes, what? I'm like, your mom doesn't think like this? I'm like, no, she would have fucking called your ass, you dumbass. I'm like, she's fucking living her own life. She was stuck in Taiwan for fucking 2 years because of the pandemic. Did she text you once? No. She comes here. Did she text you once? No.
She
She's living-
hates him,
She's
dude.
living her awesome Buddhist fucking life, right? And she was like, no, your mom needs someone to take care of. I just know it. So it's just one of those things where it's like, no matter what evidence you present,
He's romanticized it enough.
you're like, for him, it's like,
Sipping hard.
You should tell him to write poetry to
It's
her.
a TV movie for him.
So he's actually gonna try to pursue this? Like he's gonna put some action into it?
yeah, like every day, he's like, okay, like I'll talk him out of it, right? Like why it's a dumb thing to do.
Yeah.
And then he goes, all right, let me think about it. And then the next day, I'm like, cool, you thought about it. So what's it like? He goes like, man, your mom, 70, me, 70, we're gonna die alone. It's like the same
Dude,
shit.
it's fucking J-Lo and Ben Affleck.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's fucking stuck in his brain.
So the
you know?
data doesn't change even
Yeah,
though
I'm
you're
like, you don't even speak. And then as soon as she starts talking, so they've been talking, and then she'll tell me about all these things about how, like, my mom's unhappy with him, and he's unhappy with the way my mom wants.
They've been texting now?
Yeah, so like my mom was like, all right, if you want to come back into her life, she's like, here's like a code of conduct you have to follow.
Oh, shit.
She's like, we're gonna fucking have this contract.
This is the most Bart shit I've ever heard about.
You know where it comes from. She goes, when you come back into my life, you're not coming back in as my husband, because you fucked that up for over 30 years. You're coming in as Bart's dad. You get to stay in the front room, and here is the contract that we're gonna live. We're gonna be friends, but we're not gonna be like romance partners. And after you sign it, we're gonna get this shit fucking notarized. And if you fuck up, I'm kicking your ass out of here.
damn, you're gonna do a notary?
Why do you have to do
Just to get a third witness. Just to get a third witness.
That's the most Bart shit ever too.
Yeah.
It's all so Barty and
Yeah, so I was like, and then so
Now
he,
you know where it comes from?
yeah, so he'll explain all that to me. I'm like, that's what she's like, is your mom crazy? I'm like, but you knew this. You knew who mom was, and you already know that this is what she's gonna come back.
Like, why do you expect her to act differently?
Yeah, I'm like, no one thinks the way you do, no one thinks the way mom does. Both of you guys are crazy as fuck. You guys have never got together.
But how nice is she to actually even consider it?
I know.
And draft a contract.
With a notarized contract? I don't know.
Exactly, right? Because there's like an inch of her saying, I'll try this out. Yeah. You know, like,
computerizes the word.
that's fucking wild.
So I'm in the middle of it. I don't know what to make of it just yet. It's just fucking, I was like, oh shit, I think my dad's a narcissist.
Bart. It's Christmas Day. The year is 2023.
2023?
2023.
Okay.
You're there. It's Gio, you, Taika, your mom, and your dad. Your dad's carving the fucking Christmas ham. Okay. He looks at you, and he's like,
Told you, fool.
"Told you, motherfucker."
He said
And
7
he leans in your mom's ear, and he's like,
She's like, oh my god.
"Like, oh, later."
And then she goes, by the way,
Later.
we haven't announced I'm pregnant!
He's like, through hardcore anal.
Give it to me, daddy!
The first ever.
Give it to me, daddy!